I don't count reps, I just go to failure. So this is a great example of what not to do in the gym if you actually want to build muscle over a long period of time, and here's why. First off, if you just go to failure without counting your reps, how exactly would you ever know if you improved from your last session? You won't, and you never will, because you don't even know how many reps you did last session. You can't just train to failure and hope to progress every single session without actually tracking what you're doing. There will be days where you don't progress and days where you might even regress, and not counting your reps won't allow you to notice this and make changes despite training hard in the gym. So if you want to progressively overload, track what you're doing and don't just assume that you got stronger every single session. Second, if you train to failure without tracking progress, when exactly are you supposed to increase the weight? Ideally, you would do it once you reach the top end of your rep range, but you don't have a rep range because you don't count your reps. So do you just use the same weight every time, or do you arbitrarily increase the weight with no actual reasoning or logic? You see how this just doesn't make sense for sustainable growth over time? Sure, you might make some gains if your nutrition and recovery are dialed in, but you could be making a whole lot more if you trained with a smarter approach. So if you want to train to failure, that's fine, but it's not enough to just say, oh, I did 3 sets of bench press to failure, because that doesn't actually tell you anything about how you need to progress. Even when you train to failure, you still need a specified rep range to work with so that you can still make progress over time. For example, if your rep range is 6 to 8 on bench press, you can still train to failure in that range. However, instead of just blindly hoping to improve, you can actually take the necessary steps needed to progress. So if you start with a weight you can do for 6 reps, over time you can slowly increase that number to 8 and then increase the weight and start again. You still trained to failure, but this time you actually knew when you increased your reps and when you increased the weight to guarantee muscle growth instead of just hoping for it to come naturally. So count your reps, track your progress, and don't just mindlessly train to failure hoping to make gains.